And going to be looking at the reflected get and reflected post. So here, VWAP is asking us to input a first name and a last name. And this seems just like the HTML injection where if I put in, you know, two names, then it would repeat it back to us. So we're going to go through the kind of same process to see what kind of vulnerabilities there are. So if we put this right here, it's going to indicate trying to put JavaScript in to make it bold lettering. So we're going to put this there and there. All right, so now we see that we can input JavaScript and it will execute it. So let's see where we can find where this information is coming through. So if we take a look up to the URL, we can read through, see that we have a GET request right there, and then we have our inputs that we put in. So from this, we can determine that our inputs are being sent through a GET request that we can find in the URL. So now we know how our information is being passed through, and we also know that there's not a filter on simple script just like this. So let's see how far we can take it, and what we can put in there to see what damage we can actually do. So let's try to inject some JavaScript into this last name field. So if I go, just like last time, put Sherlock in here, but instead of putting just a regular last name, we're going to input this right here. And what we have here is some JavaScript to basically pop up an alert box telling us this message right here. This is a cross-site scripting vulnerability. So let's hit go. And here we go. We get this alert box up here. We press OK, and it completely refreshes the page. So our alert box was executed and it did pop up on the screen, but why is that? So if we take a look into the source code, the last name field containing our script is reflected on the page, and the JavaScript is then interpreted. At this kind of level, the script we inject in the page doesn't really do too much. It's just to provide example, basically showing that there is vulnerability in the page, and further action can be taken to make things, more particularly evil. And we can move on to the cross-site scripting post, and we can essentially do the same thing here. We can input Sherlock and that same script and press go, and the same thing's going to happen. But there is one key difference to kind of realize the difference between this get and the post is that the parameters are sent through an HTTP post query rather than an HTTP get query. But if we come in here and view our sent parameters, we can see that our script actually does get sent through the entire thing.